Good morning, Devils fans. It is July 12th, and we are now 2 full days into development camp. So far, both days have involved all on ice practice and activities, which means limited availability to content outside of what we get through our media accounts and social media as well. I do wish we got a bit more on ice clips, even if it was just a few seconds here or there. But I do appreciate the media scrums and interviews that do come out, as well as some pictures and everything that the main Devils Twitter account sends out as well. What is pretty apparent so far through 2 days is the media seems to be pumping up Villain and Philman. Uh, and while there is usually some sort of surprise at every camp, especially when you get into training camp, I can recall guys, obviously such as Bratt coming in, Coleman, Mercer, even guys that either were completely unexpected and making the roster right out of camp, or guys that you thought maybe had a chance and didn't. Media tends to have at least a feel on some of these things on who they are featuring in these interviews and such, but I think it's a very tough path for either of these guys or really any of these guys at camp this week, as this is the deepest, strongest roster we've seen on the Devils in quite a long time, and there really is just not the available spots for anyone to even force their way onto. Really, the guys that are looking to do that are not even at camp this week, such as Nemec and Holtz and Foote. But that being said, I still love hearing from these guys. They are going to, for the most part, be either in Utica or in their junior leagues. And they have, again, the potential, if it's not this year, maybe a couple more years of development down the road to make it. So any even iota of content I can get about these guys stored in the banks for later to come out in a few years and really look back on how far they came is great to me. So, speaking of Villain and Philman, they were two of the three interviews that we got from the main social accounts yesterday. The other guy is who I'm going to talk about first, in Charlie Letty. He is attending Boston College as a defenseman. He had 7 points in 35 games and 47 PIMs in that time as well. From the interview, he seems like a fun guy, very personable in the interview, cracking some jokes, laughing, smiling. So he seems like a fun guy to hang around and be with. A few of the main notes from his interview with Amanda. He talks up the training staff, which is going to be a recurring theme, I'm sure, this entire week. Usually, generally speaking, prospects are not going to talk down on the organization they are a part of. And even for the orgs that maybe are generally less looked upon favorably for how they treat their prospects and media staff and other just members of their organization, generally they still get glowing reviews from prospects. So I don't put too much stock into that stuff, but you can at least read body language, and when it is specific enough and recurring enough, I think there are points to be made there. For Charlie, he specifically brings up Megan Dugan, who has come up and visited him multiple times, checking on his development throughout the year. So we know we have some of the big head honchos of our staff that go out, see even more of the more fringe prospects like Charlie, checking in on them. And, it's great to see. Obviously part of that is seeing other guys, attending Boston College that we're scouting out. But again, it's just good to see how involved the members of this organization are. Last note really on Charlie is he is roommating with Chase Stillman, who he says is the most personable guy you can meet. So I'm sure as the years go on with Chase, we are going to continue to hear how he is an absolute locker room guy. Media will continue to pump him up as a first-round pick. So I know that's going to nauseate some Devils fans, but really from what I've seen in his interviews and how his teammates talk him up, he does seem like an absolutely fantastic guy. So when you are absolutely ripping him apart on Twitter and whatnot, try and keep that in mind. He didn't ask to be taken in the first round, but he is taking it in stride, and you love to see that from a guy at his age. Next interview that we were given was from Tobias Villain. Again, fantastic name. He spoke about testing that they did that morning that left him exhausted, so that leads me to believe maybe physicals were done. Maybe we would get updated heights and weights on these guys, which again is a big part, as a recurring theme with a lot of these prospects, is they are looking to bulk up, get stronger, get bigger. He said that the biggest change from last year to this year in his game and himself was the confidence in which he is playing at now, having yet another year under his belt. That confidence not just is coming internally from Villain, but also externally, as the team is giving him full-throated support, which gives him the ability to keep pushing forward in his game, which he self-describes as a two-way game where he can move the puck forward quite fast while defending well, and that his biggest attribute is his skating. He expresses how excited he is to come and play here, his first full season professional hockey, likely going to be in Utica. And it was really clear just from his facial expressions, his body language, and the tone of his voice, just how much that actually did mean to him, and how much he truly internalized the opportunity that he has here with us. And it's really those type of things I think that can drive a player to that next level, even when they have such an outside chance as Villain does. He said this was the biggest summer of his career. Added about a bunch of physicality to his game. Takeaways from his short stint, I believe it was a single game in Utica, was just how much faster the game is compared to Finland. Again, it's just getting that experience for a lot of these guys, and it's not just them. You can translate that to the NHL level. You know, we always heard about the lack of experience in playoffs for our team last year, and while there's an iota of truth to that, I don't think it matters too much. But for these prospects, it's when you get your feet wet and you're really into the mud of the game. As you're used to it, those nerves and anxieties go away, and it just really brings out your full game to show your potential. If there is something he wanted to work on, discontinued all season and going out in his development, it was his pace and speed of the game, specifically talking about his gap control, which is usually a reoccurring thing with any defenseman. He was adamant how much it means to him to have a coach that is vocally excited about him as a player, just continues to push him further and further, and he will continue to model his game after our one and own Dougie. Moving on, our last interview was with Josh Philman. Again, we hear more praise about the staff. This being his second camp, again, he is a little less overwhelmed and anxious about things, which just has him feeling comfortable and brings out his game even more. He credits his 30-point improvement over his previous season to just being able to follow the pace of game even better. Again, more experience, just keeping up with everything. Every time you jump up a level of competition, he said, it just makes you want to go on to the next one, continuing to strive further in his game. He's bulked up, said he thinks actually being a smaller guy helped his game a lot, helped him to learn how to find better ice, make better passes, and be able to bounce guys, as he's not the biggest guy, so even as he bulks up there, especially if he made the NHL, going to be guys a lot bigger than him, and you have to learn to be able to play around that. Again, he also got a game stint in the AHL, taught him about the pace of the game and what he's going to need to do to make that full transition from junior to the AHL. He appreciates the organization giving him the freedom to develop, make mistakes. He says that just allows you to be yourself, be more confident, a bit more loose, and again, just lets you play your game. When you're not in your own head, you are playing better. That really covered it for the interviews. Again, we don't really get much on ice stuff in these first couple of days. From what we did see from the social accounts, off ice was a big part of yesterday. All the prospects went to North Beth Israel Hospital, visited with the staff and patients, as well as a brand new wing that was built over the entire year from the last development camp when they visited. To me, this was, maybe some sort of metaphor that the team was trying to give them of how quickly something can be built. But more so, this visit was about visiting fans, being part of the community, and instilling that part of being a professional athlete in these prospects. Really, my last biggest note from yesterday was the clip put out about your favorite hockey movie. And in my opinion, Happy Gilmore is not a hockey movie, although it is part of it. And that's really it from yesterday as far as a recap goes. Today, we're going to get a 3-on-3 tournament. We're actually going to have a couple guys from the Devil's Advocates there. So we should get some personalized clips, some in-person feedback of how the event and how everything from a fan perspective was, as well as obviously all the stuff that we have gotten from the social and media accounts. That really covers it. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Let's go Devils, and I cannot wait to actually get some on-ice footage out of these guys. I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you.